No, well, I'll be in India at this point, so we'll do something.
You'll be smoking a cigar in the back of a tuk-tuk.
Right, anyway, Angus, you know what to do.
Aye, alright.
Clap us in.
Welcome to the Whisky Stories podcast.
Buy into the story, which again is much about what the brand ambassador does. It's getting the story across, then they really fall in love with it. Have you guys ever done the game where you go on Master Malt and look at one-star reviews? The review, this scotch gave me a hangover. It is not pure. Moreover, the taste is off. Yes, it's smoky and full of peat, but it ends empty and hollow. Nonetheless, my major concern is my hangover. This dram is tainted, yo! Exclamation mark.
Welcome along to the Whisky Stories podcast. Myself, Graham Colgar. We are back in the athletic arms.
What a clap with that was, eh?
That was a great.
I've had practice today, that's why.
You're invigorated after
I
the
am.
Christmas festive period.
Absolutely, I've got a new pair of hands for Christmas.
Thank the Lord. Hopefully you got some personality as well. But
Your New Year's resolution is not to be nice.
yeah, exactly right. So, Chuck, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
It's been 2.5 hours since I last saw you.
I know. I'm well rested since I last saw you.
Yeah. For people who are listening to this, we'll come clean. We're recording this on the 17th of December, but it's going out in January. I'll be in India. We'll all be a little bit worse for wear. Spent all our money, had a great festive period. It's the new year, what have you. Yeah. But we've been in diggers, Angus.
Oh, we've done a bit of a stretch, aye. We've been here since about 12:30, I would say.
1 o'clock, I'd say.
1 o'clock. Well,
back at 1.
Who's keeping time?
Exactly.
You know.
What's a half hour between
What's
pals?
half an hour between?
Because today we did our North British Distillery tour, which was absolutely fantastic.
It was class. So cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And as I've said, I'll be in India right now, so we're trying to get as much content recorded as possible.
Yep.
So that we don't give you guys a week without hearing our voices. That's how good we are at the Whisky Stories podcast. And we have a guest, a guy who spoken about probably more than anybody else in the podcast.
But
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I would say a return guest, but also the guest that's probably got the longest time difference between first appearance and second appearance.
Do you know them? Well, ladies and gentlemen, Cody Reynolds. Yeah, fantastic.
I can't believe there's a camera now. It's like when TV got colour.
Yes.
Of course.
You were BC before camera.
It was before camera.
Before camera, you were audio only.
Yeah.
Now people know what you look like.
This
Yeah,
is
I know.
what Cody
So-
Reynolds looks
Yeah,
like.
for anyone who didn't know, I am this much more handsome than you thought.
Exactly. Absolutely fantastic. He did say, I'm not coming back on until you get a camera on your podcast.
I just said I'm not coming back on. They dragged me off the street.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just having a pint in Diggers, and they've been here since 12:30 this morning. So I got dragged
I
in
always
the room.
carry a camera with me, but can you, right, so episode number. What do you reckon episode number was? Well, I think we've already mentioned this, but...
I think I guessed 7, so I'm going to just stick with 7.
No, we didn't even know, we were just talking shit about you, Chuck, at this point.
I was just being insulted on the podcast at this point.
I don't even know if we'd got to that stage yet.
No, it was
Cody,
too quick.
episode number, what do you reckon you were?
Below 10.
You were definitely below 10.
All right. I'm going to go 8. Just.
Episode number 5.
I don't know.
What that also means is we probably recorded with Cody before we even had our first episode out to the general public.
Yes, could you tell me the date? Oh, we definitely did.
Wow.
The date that we recorded that episode. There's a few things about this episode. Was the 9th of November 2023.
Okay. Was it that long ago?
That's how long ago it was.
Wow. It wasn't here either.
No, we had to record it in Bennett's, in the Jug Bar at Bennett's.
Yeah, we were in like a cupboard.
The tiny little bar, and it's the only time we've ever recorded in Bennett's, actually. But great wee pub.
Lovely wee pub, and a great wee little snuggy room as well.
You were, at the time, European brand ambassador, but you already knew that you were getting the job as global brand ambassador.
I do a lot more travel these days
Yes.
than I did then, yes.
Yes, for Glencadam and Tomintoul.
You've gone long haul.
Yeah, I get the long flights now.
So you were our first. You were our first. I think you, if I'm looking back, yeah, you were. You were our first BA, first brand ambassador, on the podcast. What is a brand ambassador?
That was the question.
That was the question.
Go to the question.
Talk about
What the
Glencadam
hell's
and
a brand
Tomintoul. Journey into whiskey. largest bottle of whiskey in the world. I've got that written down. Is that a Tomintoul?
Yep, Tomintoul 14. You can see it at our distillery. Come and see us up at Tomintoul.
There you go. Angus Dundee PLC, Scotch Whisky Experience, Geography, Water, Blending. Those are the notes I've got
Right, okay.
from that episode. But I remember, the other thing I've got here is I've written down notes today. You were the first person to ever use the wanky phrase "liquid to lips."
Was that me?
Yeah, that was you.
Oh, wow, what a guy.
Yeah. BA, a brand ambassador through and through.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody, how are you?
Really good. It's this is the busiest time of year for BAs from about September to December. There's so many whiskey shows on at this point. So I'm at the point where you're close enough to Christmas, by the time this comes out after Christmas, where you need some drams in a nice quiet pub, which Diggers isn't always a quiet pub, but it is always nice.
Yes.
So it's always good to be back.
Well, thanks for coming along. It's been great, but also I have to say as well, a huge thank you for helping us in organising a tour of the Glencadam distillery. I think, Angus, you were great. It was absolutely fantastic.
It was tremendous. We visited there last month. I think it's safe to say. Was it last month?
Yeah, it was November.
November, yeah.
Yeah. So 2 months ago.
2 months ago now, yeah.
We're going to stop this.
What's a month between friends, eh? What's a month between friends? But no, Glencadam, I think we're there 12 days after it officially opened.
The visitor centre, not the
The
distillery.
visitor centre, no, the distillery's been open a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Really, really terrific. We're looked after very well by your colleague Michael up there. Looked after us absolutely impeccably. And a great distillery to have a look around. Not one I'd even was really on my radar until.
To be honest, that's the whole reason we've really pushed to have this visitor centre open. Glencadam's a distillery, it's 200 years old, so it's not a new distillery by any means. But even when I'm visiting other places in Scotland, never mind Europe or internationally, like America, etc. Very few people know about Glencadam. Sure. I can do 5 masterclasses back to back and ask how many people have tried Glencadam before, and in a room of 30 you'll get 5 hands and they've tried the 10. So it's very surprising that a distillery that is as good as Glencadam, as old as Glencadam, still really doesn't have its name out there, which is obviously why we're trying to change that. And that's something that we're hoping the visitor centre is going to allow us to do a bit.
Oh, it was for me, in the first 9 months of the podcast, it was almost like we had managed to source the holy grail of sponsorship, because it was like every single week I would come to the bar, and this is the danger of standing and for people who are listening and have never been to Diggers, or people who are listening have been to Diggers for the first time. Shout out to is it Jürgen or Jürgen?
Jürgen, aye, who we bumped into.
Jürgen.
Yeah.
And Scott Moore and Nadia Douglas, all these people that we keep bringing back to Diggers. Thanks for all the free drinks, Kev, but for bringing all these people through the door.
Did you get free drinks? Huh?
But the thing is, until you see that wall of whiskey, but the problem you have is that if you stand in the same place every single week, but there just seemed to be a period of time where all I could see on the back bar was just Glencadam everywhere, and so it was almost like
I'm doing a good job.
You are, absolutely.
When
I started at Angus Dundee and I came to Diggers the first time, there was only 2 Glencadams available. Yeah. It was a 13-year-old that had been sitting at the back of the bar for about 50 years, and an Origin, which is the entry level. They were the only ones they have. Now Diggers has got unbelievable selection.
And like as I say, it just seemed to be every single week. What's the non-age statement in the sort of grey, silvery?
So that's the Origin.
That's the Origin. Love the Origin.
Yeah.
Origin. But every week I had to pick a Glencadam. Because first of all, point of sight, you just see it where I was stood. Yeah. Always getting it, but just couldn't see past it. Absolutely. When I was on my whiskey cycle before I could get into cast strength whiskey, which we'll come to that. But whilst we're on the subject of drams and what we're drinking, Chuck, what have you got?
I've got myself a 1998 bottled for Hearts, 34-year-old North British. As of
you're a big football fan, Chuck, aren't you?
Oh, the biggest. I love it when they kick that ball and it goes in the net. And the refs, big fan of them.
You like the refs?
Oh, you like the refs?
That's what football fans always say.
Yeah, you love the refs.
You'll get on with his brother then.
So I got that just after this morning. / 3 weeks ago. And then I also Angus pointed out Glentockers by Signatory, and I looked at nothing else about it and said, yes, I'll have one of those.
Yeah, because you're a Glentockers.
I've not actually had a Glentockers in a while, apart from the vast array of my own house.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've actually paid.
But not a bottle you've got in your own house, this one. This is
No, this is Signatory.
Well done,
Yeah,
I know.
Well done.
But I don't know. I actually don't know.
Saw
how old
Talkers
it is
and
or
thought
the
of Chuck.
ABV. So I just went for it. And a pint of Murphy's.
Brilliant, there you go. In a Murphy's glass as well. Superb. Looking great. Angus, what are you?
I've pointed it out to Chuck, but I also pointed it out to myself. I've gone for this Signatory Glentockers as well. Very nice it is too. A wee bit of sulphury, like you said, but it's not offensive. Nice kind of coppery sort of that kind of taste, but nice. I like that. I'm not offended by that. And then I've got this isn't whiskey, Graham. This is.
I thought this was a whiskey podcast.
Oh hell!
I know. What are we? I know.
It's got rum and coke. For anyone listening, it's not watching.
I've got
a rum and coke.
I've got a spirit. I've got a spirit drink distilled at Glenmurray Distillery. It's the peated maple cask.
The peated maple cask. Wow.
We obviously had the sample of it a couple of weeks ago. Kev managed to get his hands on a bottle, and I felt duty bound to order a dram out of that.
Superb. I've gone on brand. I've gone for the Glencadam 15, which for people listening, I believe is actually the distiller's favourite dram, which we were told on.
It's my favourite Glencadam out of the core range as well.
We had the
Glencadam 15.
We had the 15 up there, but I actually that day I actually preferred the 13.
Yeah.
And I'd say
I didn't. I still preferred the 15.
Well, that's it. As this is after Christmas, I've actually nominated both the 13 and the 15 for people for a gifting whiskey. I think good price, good value. What, you're 65 for the 13? I think 60 odd quid. What are you talking for the 15, Cody?
70.
Yeah, so not too bad for 100 quid. Really, really nice whiskey. I also like the fact that there is a 13 and a 15, and there's a mothball story that goes alongside
13,
it, with the 13, which is great. I've done something that you'll never normally do for us, and we'll never normally do in Diggers, and I've just doubled up again. Because
you've got two Glencadam 13.
No, I'm not. It's got for three.
Because you were talking about that earlier.
The thing, one of the things that we say is that we put a
The guy at the bar's deaf, and we ordered 13 Glencadams.
But no, one of the things that we do too often here is you feel obliged to order your second dram, your third dram, your fourth dram. You always feel obliged for it to be different.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just, you know what, if you find a nice one, and this was the problem. We came in here, opened the laptop, did a bit of editing, ordered a few drams.
Yep.
And the Cubokin.
Oh, you've gone back to it.
I've gone. I had that to start. We had that on our trip at Scott Whisky Experience. On our Scott Moore Edinburgh Whisky thing, and it was just really, really, really good. And one of the things I really liked about it was when we had the Cubokin up at the Tomatin Distillery, I didn't like it. So when I had it again, that Creations number 7, absolutely loved it. And all I've thought about is we need to get it on. Kev got it behind the bar, so I tried it at 1:30, 2 o'clock. Really, really enjoyed it. I went, well,
I'll have another 6 of those, please.
And then the next dram I had after the Cubokin one was
the spirit drink.
The spirit drink Glenmurray Maple Peated. So I've gone for that again. So this is the second time I'm going.
There you are. History never repeats.
But I've also got myself a bottle of Woodrow's of Edinburgh. No, I didn't realise you'd got a North British Chuck. I've been carrying this around with me for 3 weeks since we were at North British. But I've been carrying this around with me today.
An excuse for
Gifted to us by Woody at the end of
by
Whisky
the
Fringe.
creator himself.
A 46-year-old North British. That's class. So I'm gonna tap into it because I think we were given a sample of it at Whisky Fringe. By the point that we had been given that sample at Whisky Fringe, as you guys will all be able to relate to these whisky festivals, whiskey was just tasting like whiskey at that point.
I was not in good form.
No.
I was getting told off for really not doing my job.
Yeah, you didn't do a great job. The edit of that was a lot harder than it needed to be, thanks to your shockingly bad camera skills.
I was having a great time.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen so many people.
You had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
But the mouth was kind of, the taste buds had gone by that
So
point.
I'm gonna have that. Cody, what have you got?
Well, I should say before Cody, I went to the bar with full intention of ordering a Old Ballantrae just to impress our guest here. But I didn't. No, it's one of the cheapest drams on the bar.
Most affordable.
One keenly priced. Because I love Old Ballantrae, and I wanted to talk about it, but I mean, you can only just say it's great and it's peat and Tomintoul, but I didn't get it, so I just thought I'd mention it though.
Well, after that disappointment, I am...
Exactly, there you go. Follow that up.
I'm having Glencadam 10. I just love Glencadam 10. Glencadam 10 for me is... it's a whiskey where I do a million whiskey shows and tastings and everything, and they always tend to start on something like Glencadam 10. And every time I have Glencadam 10, I go, damn, that is good.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's always at the start, and then you'll be moving on to something else. And you tend to have a fresh palate at the start, so you know what you can smell properly, you can taste properly. Every time I have Glencadam 10, I'm like, that's just a good dram.
It's a fantastic
it's
dram. I've got an open bottle currently in the house, and I love tapping into that. And as you said, it's always the first one you go for if you're having a couple of drams in the evening.
I mean, it's light, it's bright, it's the best thing right at the start. Aperitif of whiskey.
Yeah. It was given to me at the Ensign Ewart before our Scotch whisky experience day last year.
Yep.
And I went in. It was a nice day that day, I think I remember correctly. And I remember sort of saying like, what am I going to get? And I said, go and just give me something sweet, bourbony, nice and easy going. And he just went,
yeah,
there's a Glencadam 10 for you. And it was
100% bourbon as well, which is great.
And I think goes back to my theory about, you know, on a tasting, the first dram is the hardest working dram, because if you've not had anything before, it's the one that gets forgotten about. It's probably, if I was to give one thing I've done in 2025, sorry.
We're in 2026.
Well, only 2
give me one thing you've done in 2026, Graham.
I've gone to India.
Oh, well done.
but no, 2025, I think it was Greg Urquhart who said at tasting about he likes to always leave a little bit as he's going, so it gives you the opportunity to go back
in a tasting.
And it's been one of the best
things. It's something I've followed as well.
You know, when you have 6 drams, and sometimes, you know, like you say, that first dram has to work so bloody hard to get. It's almost like putting an aperitif on, but actually, if you can find a whiskey, and it's like the Cam and Ross Bar, Big Cam talking about how if you go to a pub like Diggers, and you know you've got so many to pick from, particularly now where Kev's updating all the whiskies that he's putting up on Facebook and Instagram.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just order a Glencadam 10.
And then
make your mind up. It gives you that half hour or 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. What's your second? I got you your second dram.
Yeah, it's the number 7, because you only know 3 drams at this bar. So, I
knew there was a reason I hadn't had you back on this one.
I've not tried it yet, so I'm looking forward to it. See what it's like.
Really, really, really tasty.
Yeah.
Really tasty. And but yeah, like it's good. It's nice to get some drams in.
Oh, it's great to get some drams.
It's the earliest. It's actually only just gone 5 o'clock.
I know.
I'm recording a podcast.
Technically should still be at work. Yes.
Well, this is what I'm worried about. But Cody, talk us through. Right, obviously the 11th of the November 2023 was the last
9th of November.
9th of November 2023 was the last time I had you on. Episode 5. What have you been up to?
God.
Well, you got married.
Yes, yeah. So I would have got married a few weeks after that. In 2023, I got married on the 25th of November.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's right, With to Moa Reynolds now.
Correct.
Swedish whiskey girl.
Also been on the podcast.
Yes.
Check it out. Don't know what episode it was, but I'm sure it was good.
We were. She was mentioned not that long ago when we were saying that. Wait a minute. We were having a laugh about how Cody's wife knows more about whiskey than he does.
Yeah. I mean, she does.
She's a published author.
Well, we had her. Well, this is it. We had her on with Cam. I was actually in Waterstones the other day, And I saw that book and I pointed out to Laura going, oh, I've actually had those people in the book, you know, like doing that thing. And then Laura was like, oh, shut up, you know. Third wife, you know.
Obviously, you and Tom.
Yeah, she wasn't particularly impressed, but I was, you know, she deliberately not impressed, but she would have been a little bit impressed.
So you got married.
Yeah, I got married, which is, of course, the most important thing that's happened to me in the last couple of years.
Yep.
Apart from that, it's just been a lot of travel. I do a lot of travel with work anyway, and I think that's increased a lot since 2023. I absolutely love getting away. You know, it's great to see other places. I don't have to talk to Moa for 2 weeks. That's not true, by the way, Moa. Please, if you're reading this back, I love my wife. No, but the opportunity to see places that you literally would never see.
Where would you say? So your global BA for Angus Dundee. Mm-hmm. So Angus Dundee covering mainly Glencadam and Tomintoul.
Yes.
Any other, Old Ballantrae, as Angus has mentioned, is there any other brands associated around the world that maybe we wouldn't know of because we don't get to see them here that travel well or are maybe exclusive to a different country?
Yeah, we do things like certain blends and things which are quite important to our company. So we've got things like For Pete's Sake, which is an affordable peated blend. It's actually delightful. Really? It's a really nice peated blend. Mm-hmm. That does good in like Scandinavia. So in Sweden, you'll see it in pretty much every store in Sweden. You have things like Double Peat, which is again a combination of peated spirit from a undisclosed Speyside distillery, which
answers on a postcard, please.
but then also an Isla distillery as well. So we've got things like that. And other blended stuff that we do, so mainly the blends. My role really is about focusing on our single malts.
On the single malts.
And growing those.
So where's a place that you've visited around the world where it surprised you the most?
Oh, good question. Surprised in what sense?
Just anything. Expectation level when you've arrived versus whiskey, fandom or the level of what people were at, education with whiskey, because there'll be some places that you go to.
Is there a place that you've gone to that you were really surprised that there was a massive following for, say, Glencadam? As you said, globally, a lot of people don't really think about it. The place you went to and you're like, they're not going to know this. And then
so we do really well in New York. I was in New York a few weeks ago. There's certain accounts in New York where we're very, very strong, which I was not surprised about. That's a great thing to see, but just the strength was really good to see.
What makes that then? What makes, so somebody, you're saying accounts, is that within the bar trade or retail or both?
Mainly retail. It's just particular retail accounts that we're particularly strong in that market.
So is that like an importer?
It's an importer thing.
An importer has just said they know Glencadam can stand up to it.
I mean, your importer is incredibly important. No matter where you are, the importer is arguably just as important as how good your brand is. You can have the best brand in the world, but if your importer is not doing your job, your brand just doesn't get out in that market. So it's always about finding an importer that you believe in and believes in you as well. That's super important. And they need to love your brand as much as you do, because then they'll push it out to the places.
Yeah. And the phrase like boots, because this is the thing, I've spoken to a couple of people in the industry who'll say boots on the ground is so the thing is, an importer could say, right, I tell you what, because I'd imagine trying to get my head around how the importing whiskey works into a country like America and things like that. So you need an importer to buy it all and then send distributors to sort of spread it out through the country and things like that. But your problem is an importer could just say, I tell you what, and imagine that the volume they have to buy, they have to commit to tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of stock.
They can act as a gatekeeper.
But what they could also do,
but that's what I mean.
Yeah, but they could also do the other way, is they could say, they could buy a load of stuff and stick it on the shelf, but if they don't work hard to sell it, then they might just go, never going to do that again because I couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Whereas actually having, like you say, having an import, but then
it's the same for every brand. Your importer is very important because importers will have more than one single malt brand under their portfolio. Not always the case, but normally they'll have more than one. And if that particular importer has a favorite brand that their workforce really enjoys, and that is either you or not you, that particular brand will be pushed more into their accounts. Because if they go into an account like their equivalent to Diggers, and their equivalent says, we've got tons of bottles on the shelf, right? You're coming in to try and sell me whiskey. I'm really only going to buy one. They're just going to throw them your favourites. So you need to make sure that the importers love your stuff as much as you do. Otherwise, if you're always that second option, then you just...
Because you're effectively, when you do travel to these countries, you're effectively working less for the brand and more for the importer as such, because what you're trying...
I would say it's a 50-50.
Yeah, because you're almost trying to say,
yes,
I'm working for a Glencadam, you know, and to be honest...
We want you to buy this brand, we want you to buy it off this person.
You have to buy it from this person. So having that relationship, and how will it work? Will you guys, like I always wonder this when it comes to global BAs, is we hear about brand ambassadors, and we've had Mike Brown on, we've had plenty of, you know, even Gordon Dundas and things like that. But who arranges it? Like, who decides where you go?
So that will depend on the company and the structure of the company. For me, I always describe what I am as I'm a bullet and the boss is the gun. So right. I get
you
fired,
get fired
and I do my thing wherever I end up.
He directs.
Yeah. Now that's not always the case. There'll be other companies where there's more leniency, where the brand ambassador, because they might be a brand ambassador / they might actually be in charge of particular markets as well. Yeah. So they might be in charge of Germany and Belgium and the Netherlands, and also they'll do all the ambassadorial work in those markets. Whereas I kind of just go where I'm told and I'll do my thing. So my particular role is a lot about brand education and understanding the category of Scotch whisky as well as their brands. Yeah. Whereas other people are more there for sales and they'll tell you about the brands while they're there. So it really depends.
Because so I take it then, so the people who are working in the brand team, it's not just, you know, are they just looking at a diary and going, there's a whiskey festival in Sweden in 2 weeks' time, we're going to put Cody on or maybe not 2 weeks' time, because they'll probably be further, they'll look at whiskey festivals around Europe and further afield around the world and say, right, we're going to send Cody to this whiskey festival, that whiskey festival, and that'll be a big part of it.
Yeah.
And whilst you're there, will they then tie in with an importer and say, can we get Cody into can we get him to do a barrel top in a few shops? Can we get him to do some education in a bar, a couple of big bars that are your bigger sellers of Glencadam or Tomintoul? But then is there also just an element of we just need a bit of presence?
It's a combination again. So what you've described is how a perfect trip would work, whereby everything should be arranged beforehand. I'm going out to Germany. If I've got a whiskey show in Hamburg on the Friday, Saturday, ideally, I'm out there on, say, a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I'm doing tastings in local places, or I'm seeing key accounts. I then do the show and then I come back. Yeah. It's the most value for money for the brand, and the distributor gets the most out of me whilst I'm in market. Yeah. So it always works that way, not necessarily. A lot of times you just go out, you do your thing, come back. It's very hard to always organise things around the show because everybody else is trying to do that at the same time. And any kind of account can only have so many people. And also sometimes the accounts are coming at the show, so they don't want to see you.
Yeah, because we've seen you just.
And is there ever a bit of freedom for you, like?
As in the market, like to see the place, or
no, just in the fact that like the original brand ambassador position in my mind is always like a guy who is. I'm trying to remember. I think it was when we talked about we had Danny Dyer from Grant's on this time, and Danny Dyer talked about one of the sons. I don't know what generation of the William Grant and Sons process it was, but basically it was like he just got sent across the world with a suitcase of Grants in Glenfiddich and Balvenie probably, but he was the talker. He was the sort of a bit of a smoozer, you know, a guy that can get into bars, fly society, get into places and just have a bag of whatever it was and pull it out and go, have you tried this?
Go to Singapore, go to the top bar.
Right, and so there's
it's a bit of a different world these days than what it was back in the day. So like, again, 20 odd years ago, we would send someone like our master distiller Robert out, you know, he talks about it, and a lot of the case, when those guys were coming out, you didn't see brand ambassadors, and you especially didn't see people from the distilleries back then at all in these international markets. So they were complete rock stars. They were, you know, literally people were trying to get them to sign anything, you know, sign my chest kind of stuff as you're walking around a whiskey show. Sadly, it's not that case for me today, because it's a lot more structured. You get the chance to talk to brand ambassadors a lot more than you ever have done in the past. But yeah, back in the day, it was a case of if someone from Scotland came out to a particular market, especially if there's a big whiskey scene there, it was, you know.
Because that's, I mean, I think also the I can't remember the name, but it was like in the early days of in the early 19, whenever it was. But I think this guy ended up almost being cast as a James Bond character. So you can almost picture this guy, very sharp. It would probably maybe just after or maybe even during Prohibition in America. And his job was basically to go on the liners between the UK and the States across the Atlantic on first class and have just a bag full of Ballantines. And it would be just dishing this out and it was like, his whole thing was like, oh, have you never heard of Ballantines? And make people go like,
people fall in love
oh, right, and then where can I get this in America? If you want a drink of that, you need to go to these places and you'll get that.
I think the same thing would have happened with doers back in the day. I think it's like well-known information where like a guy would pay people to go into bars and ask to order.
That was what this is.
And then be like, oh, you don't have it. And then he would arrive like a week later and be like, hey man, I'm the rep from.
Good old grifting.
Oh my god.
But is there ever a situation where you find yourself? Is it so structured now so it's not like that? Where Cody, going to this city, you've got that to do, but also whilst you're out there, try and spread the good
stuff. I mean, you always want to try and do as much as you can in market. To be honest, a lot of the time it's very structured in what you're able to do.
Yeah.
And it's as much down to the distributor that you're with as to what your itinerary is going to be and what you're able to do whilst you're there. But the general goal is the same. The general goal is to go elsewhere and make people at least know or have heard of your product. If they've heard of it, they're far more likely to buy it. You know, we go back to the fact I said Glencadam's 200 years old. Excellent stuff, you know, it's unbelievable. You see it in more and more in Scotland these days, but like, again, in international markets, it's still a case where a lot of people have never heard of Glencadam before. You know, they'll come along and they'll be like, oh, I've heard of Rassie next to me at the show, and oh, I've heard of Ardnamurchan, that's just down there. It's like, oh, are you Indie Bottler or Glencadam, is that a distillery? It's like, yeah, it turned 200 last year.
So why is that?
So that's what we're working on.
Yeah, but why?
And this is crazy, these distilleries that have popped up in the last 10 years.
When I think about Glencadam, I can't really think of any independent bottlings.
You don't see it too much. You can get it.
But I'll tell you exactly. A couple of independent bottlings, Blind Summit.
Blind Summit.
Yeah.
Mike McDavid did one a couple of years ago.
Yeah, then he's got a Blind Summit.
You're wearing a t-shirt.
If you listen to this, James or Jamie.
I've also been doing deliveries for them for weeks, and I have moved that Glencadam.
And also, they're really successful. The original one of the Jane Street.
Oh yeah.
It's 5-year-old Glencadam.
I thought it was 10.
No, it's. Oh, I thought it was 7 maybe.
It's Glencadam.
It is Glencadam, that's true.
But it's fascinating to see because I'm the same. I fell in love with Glencadam.
What I will say is that the visibility, of course, is increased dramatically since I joined, just in case my boss is
Well, it's it.
Would you say that was down to any one individual, Cody?
I would say it was one particular individual.
Well, talking about visibility, talking about visibility of Glencadam. Get a sign on the road in Brechin to point to where the distillery is.
You know, it's funny.
Because we drove past that turning point 4 times.
So I drove there yesterday, and I was with Moa. We're in the car, and we went there, and I was like, when we got up to that turn, I obviously know where the turn is. It's a very tight turn. I was like, I'm surprised they haven't put a sign up yet.
Because
I assumed that they would have by this point.
You need something like the Phoenix Club, speed trap and flashing lights. Glencadam Distillery this way.
For anyone who's not seen Glencadam or been up to see us, the turn in, the road almost looks like a driveway if you're taking the right-hand turn in.
Yeah.
It's very, very tight. That road was built for horse and cart. It was never built for cars. It's not a main road by any sense. No. It really does feel like you're going the wrong way. But that's the way you get into the distillery.
And also Angus, you know, it's
behind a very large hedge.
It's no secret. We're football fans, and I don't know how many times. Yeah, of course, Chuck. Sorry,
Chuck loves it when the ball gets kicked in the net.
But Chuck loves the refs. We're not so keen on the refs.
But we've been to.
How many times have we been?
We have been to Glebe Park at least 10 times.
And I would never have known.
And I've never
just how close the stadium.
Never once known there's a distillery the other side of the hedge. In fact, what was the other side of the hedge has always been a bit of a mystery, I think. It turns out it's a whiskey distillery.
And whiskey distillery in a lot of footballs,
I've always said it's tucked between the local park and the local graveyard. So you either, if you wanted expansion, you have to knock down the swings or mess with a different type of spirit.
Yeah, well, that's it. We did send Angus off to the swings when we were having dram, but no, like the visitor centre. Then there's a vlog that we will be publishing round about this time now. Yeah, we took Scott Moore up to Glencadam. It was 12 days it had been open.
And he was
not the distillery visitor centre. And what a trip that we had.
Scott had a fantastic time. He was very complimentary about the kind of countryside around Brecon as well. He was like, you've got a beautiful country, all the things you'd expect an American to say in Scotland.
Brilliant,
which was great, but the distillery itself was fantastic and very, very well looked after. The cafe, or the restaurant, anyway, it was really, really good.
Loaded mac and cheese.
Loaded mac and cheese.
Fries.
Option of bacon, black pudding, or bacon and black pudding.
Or on top of fries.
Or on top of fries.
If anyone's driving Dundee, Aberdeen, you want a little stop for some food or coffee?
I would 100%, if I was driving up to Aberdeen, I would 100% make the trip to stop there and get
absolutely.
You'd be there, it's 5 minutes off the road, off that main road, and you can stop for a coffee
fantastic,
or some food.
But a really, really interesting distillery. Lovely little still room in there. With a night, like I said, a kind of a unique viewpoint from a distillery tour point of view of the stills, because you're looking at them from floor level upwards.
That's cool.
Look, the water cooling systems. I mean, we had lots of jokes because Michael was showing us around and he said, "Oh, come and look at the dam," and we said, "Oh, a Dutchman."
Is that Dutch accent?
He's done an American, he's done a Dutchman.
And he said a Dutchman showing us a dam, you know. He said, "Oh yeah, we're known for dams and all this." You know, that was. I mean, you can see what this vlog is going to be great. But I mean, also, I think the thing that Graham and I were really blown away by or weren't expecting was this the blending room. The blending room. So the warehouse was a warehouse that's been converted into the kind of mass blending room, hall, shed.
Yeah, it's their filling hall is what it's called.
Yeah, again. I mean, we went to North British today, and the scale of that is very impressive. The scale of this is also very impressive,
really
and you get to see it on the tour.
And not something you'll see an awful lot of.
Big vats where whiskey is blended to order. Really, really cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
Capacity.
It's about 1.3 million litres.
But that's from the distillery.
Yeah.
But in the blending shed, hall, room, filling hall, Chuck, honestly, right?
Enclosed area, anyway.
Pretty good. I couldn't make it.
What I have to say is,
and really nice contemporary with the construction, the distillery Dunwich warehousing as well.
Yeah. But what I have to say is, I would say at the start of 2025, I'd been to 3 distilleries, right? 2, maybe 3 distilleries. One of them being the famous grouse experience as a kid, which is now Glencadam.
I remember that, man.
Yeah,
I did that as a kid as well.
Ran up and down the piano bit on the floor that they had that made the tune. You could actually jump on the keys, which would make it. Probably there was a distillery in Islay.
What tune could you play on the keys?
Boo! There we go. Sponsorships available. But but the thing is, Port Elise was distillery number 1 that we did with the Whisky Stories podcast in January, and then we went through them all. As I say, culminating in today, finishing off with North British, which is fantastic. But my dad, and we talked about it in the North British episode. My dad's a horrible whiskey cynic who doesn't like whiskey. That would say, "You've been to one distillery, you've seen them all." And to be perfectly honest, he had a point to a degree, right? We had Stephen Woodcock. Well, we had Stephen Woodcock on this podcast sitting there saying, "Whiskey's made the same way everywhere you go, right? What are yeast barley, right? It's the same process, right? Malting, milling, mashing.
Come on, man, you got this.
Fermentation, distillation, maturation, right?
Gold star. Well done.
There you go. Hey. But it's made the same. So why is it that why should you go to so many different distilleries if it's all done the same way. And then it isn't until, and this is where I am turning into a whiskey geek. Where suddenly a mash filter becomes exciting.
This is where
a line arm becomes. The crazy thing is the Glencadam distillery is the first line arm that I've ever seen that goes up the way instead of down the way, right?
I mean, it's having an interesting. I mean, I've probably said this on this before, but I'll never forget going up to Speyside with Big Cam and the OG Fraser from Scotch, and we drove past the Walker Shortbread factory, and Fraser looked at us like, that must be fucking boring working there. Imagine spending your whole day just with 3 ingredients.
And you're on your way to the distillery.
and we literally just stopped up at Tormore and we were all like, oh my god! Just drove into Speyside. But it is, I mean, it's having a fascination of what the...
But I would say that I'm still not 100%, I'm still not on the 100% geek train. Okay, so...
Is that just because you don't want to tell your dad that he was talking a load of nonsense?
I know to ask the question.
Yeah.
And how long is your fermentation time? Someone can say it's 72 hours ago. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. I know what it kind of does. All right, I've seen a mash filter. I've seen a Loman still. Today we got to see column stills.
That was badass.
That
brilliant. Was genuinely super, super cool.
And it was cool seeing it at the level we were at, because you looked up and it went on, and you looked down and it went on, and it was like,
but
whoa.
It's not all about size, guys.
It's not all about, no, it's not. It's
but
not.
Even at that, you guys were, it was cool, it was great. You guys were really getting into it. I wasn't 100%. But what I like to see is if you go to a distillery and you'll get to see something that you don't always get to see, right? And I would say that walking in, and one of the things is, it's Angus Dundee that you work for.
Yeah.
Okay. Angus Dundee, who, as we've talked about, Glencadam and Tomintoul, we need to talk a bit more about Tomintoul, because Glencadam does get a lot of the love on this podcast. But what I would say is that the openness of, we make blends, and we make blends to order, and we don't just use the single malt that we have available. We'll buy single malt from here, and here. And it's part of the business that a lot of people in whiskey just don't, like a lot of whiskey drinkers just don't see. It's behind, it felt like, walking into that room felt like getting a chance to see behind the curtain. Where what Michael was able to say is, those two big, huge, massive vatting tanks are used for, that's where we put our grain. That one there is where we put all our peated spirit. And those ones down there are where we use single malt that we buy from third parties from all over the country. And then if someone in India wants a blend, we'll make it to spec for them. And that is probably a massive, massive part of the business as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, blends make up around 90% of all sales of Scotch. I think when you are, along your sort of whiskey journey, as people say, and you end up places like this with all the single malts, you can quite quickly fall into the belief that single malts are the only thing that whiskey drinkers drink. Realistically, you're in the very small minority of what whiskey drinkers drink. And whiskey is much larger than the single malt category as its whole.
And is this something that falls under your kind of hat as well, where we have this conception of you going out to market with a product and saying, this is our product, Glencadam, Tomintoul, please buy it. But is there also a case where you might go out to prospective clients, say, look, you need something, whatever it is, whether it's a Japanese supermarket or a client in India, this is what we could produce for you, etc., etc. Is that something that comes under your...
It doesn't come under my particular role.
No.
But if that particular conversation came up, I would forward them into the right location.
Sure. I mean, because going back to the brand ambassador role, look, as we're recording this, we've had a laugh on that. It's been a tricky and tough old year for a lot of people in the whiskey industry. We've seen distilleries going into administration. We've seen distilleries have to pay off staff, reduce production, and things like that. And it's horrible, it's sad, and we don't like to see it and things like that. But one of the big conversations that I'm sure, and you can answer this as honestly as you would like to, Cody, but one of the big conversations that we've seen people having is, where does the role of the brand ambassador sit? Now, one of the things that I've seen through it was a post on LinkedIn. It was through a recruiter who works in the drinks industry, who's actually pointed out that fair play to all the brands and all the companies that have held on to their BAs, right? Because the role and the job of the brand ambassador is so difficult to prove on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You know,
It's the intangible benefits, isn't it?
if I'm sat beside you and I'm BDM, I'm sales, they can look at me and go, Graham's brought in X amount of money because this is how much sales that he's done.
Yeah.
But they can't look at that for you. But what they can do is they can go, look how much it's bloody cost us to fly out Cody here, there, and everywhere. Mm-hmm. But what it can't do is you can't establish just how valuable.
You can't.
How valuable
account
is it
for advocacy? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, you mentioned it earlier, but like boots on ground.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'll use this account just as an example. Again, when I first came in here, there was 2 Glencadams. There's now many more. That is a combination of Glencadam being really, really good, and also my relationship with the account.
Yeah.
You know, now the account doesn't buy from me; they'll buy through the sales team. But would they have bought it if I hadn't came in and known Kevin, talked about Glencadam, sat and had a meeting with them, let them try some stuff? I'm in here regularly. Unlikely. So that's the thing. The reason I love the industry so much is not just about the liquid. It is, and it's something you don't get taught in schools. It is the networking kind of. People like to buy from people they like.
Yes.
They like buying products they like. That is 100% true, and obviously cost is a whole other thing. But when it comes to accounts, especially on trade and off trade, if I go into even like a little mom and pop store in the US, so like a little convenience store that buys in whiskies, if I just come across as like Mr. Salesman from Scotland, yeah, they might buy it, they might not, they might say they're going to buy it, they might not. If I come in and they really like me, they're going to buy it.
Well, you know,
they come in
but
and
they're
say,
not buying it from
Cody's
me
a swell guy.
they're not buying it from me, they'll buy from the distributor, and then that goes through. So again, it's not quantifiable, but the actual sale was on what happened when I was in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, my grandfather, the phrase "people buy for people," and like it is ultimately. And the thing is that you can look at how much is automated these days. You know, an email can be sent, and orders can be placed. Relationships can be built on video calls and Teams calls and etc., etc., etc. But we are in the whiskey industry here is a people industry, okay, and that's the bottom line of it. Chuck, I remember them. You know, you'll know this from farming background. Like the farming background, it's a people industry.
Yeah, very much so.
It's also an animal industry.
But the point of the matter is,
are animals, right?
like, you know, like
Well, this podcast would be much more boring in other industries, I would say.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I love my accountancy podcast.
but in all seriousness, and it's like, you know, I'm from a farming background, and that was it. People would say, like, remember, farmers buy tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of plant and machinery over a plate of soup with a guy that they've bought the same plant and machinery. Like, you look at if you look at, and again, I'm getting carried away with my, and I do want to say the John Deere tractor that you have on site at the Glencadam Victory.
See that?
It was my favourite part of the tour because I'm mad for
You might be the first to say that. I do like it as
the
well.
wee tractor,
Yeah,
and you've painted the trailer
Yeah.
to match the John Deere.
Yeah.
But the point of the matter is, you've got, again, apologies for anyone listening to this, indulge me. You've got like Massey Ferguson, you've got John Deere, you've Class,
New Holland.
New Holland,
Lamborghini.
if you watch the Clarkson's farm, but you've got but the point of the matter is that I remember in a previous life as a forklift whiskey instructor.
That's why you got fired.
We'll never talk about that day again. But as a forklift instructor, I remember it was like it was a type of machinery that John Deere had bought, and they were like, we have got to work really, really hard because it doesn't have the John Deere logo on it, right?
That's tough.
But we've got to try and convince everybody who has another brand, or Manitou, another brand, or if they have the Manitou of what we are selling, we've got to try and get them onto that. But we don't have the John Deere badge to push, right? But what the guy would say is, he said that I'll sell hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of equipment over a plate of soup at a farm. So come up, have a blether, have a plate of soup.
That, or just give a really good quality like body warmer and jobs didn't. And the amount of free boiler suits and body warmers my old man would wear, and be like, good man.
Sounds like an idea for the Glencadam shop.
But I suppose, and this is it's not quantifiable in sense of facts and figures.
Yeah, as you said, it's people buy from people. I think that's a really good quote. I mean,
like with the lips the last time you were on, and people buy from people this time you're on.
Whiskey's so subjective and what you're going to like, and when people buy into the story, which again is much about what the brand ambassador does, it's getting the story across, then they really fall in love with it.
But if you're at a tasting and you're hosting and people really, really love the product, it could be 6 months down the line and they'll be like in a shop and they'll see a bottle like Glencadam, they'll be like, I'm absolutely going to buy that because of this great night I had.
Yeah, people can have some strange opinions when left. Have you guys ever done the game where you go on Master Malt and look at 1-star reviews?
Oh no!
All right. Oh, I have this set up. This wasn't planned. But I did it.
I
did this with someone recently. Okay, new part of the podcast.
Is this all Glencadam stuff that's 1-star?
No. It's, we don't have.
We don't.
New part of the podcast. I'd like to preface this or say I like all of these whiskies. Every whiskey I'm going to mention.
Hang on 2 seconds. Then what we'll do is we'll sort this out right now. Because we've got Ali Baxter's bedroom window bingo, right? So this will be Cody Reynolds 1-star reviews.
Yeah, so I'd like to say all of these are classic, standard releases.
Okay.
Right? I like all of these, but these are 1-star reviews on Master of Malt. All you have to do is work out what distillery I'm talking about.
Okay.
Here we go.
I did it when I was in the US with some guy, just for fun. But here we go. So first review. Easter South European fruiter grain double distilled moonshine would taste adequately better considering the ridiculously huge difference in price.
Right, so is this Scotch then?
They're all Scotch, they're all standard releases. I will make this easier so it doesn't take up the whole podcast. This is an Islay that I'm talking about.
So say it again, what was it?
Easter South European fruit or grain double distilled moonshine would taste adequately better considering the ridiculously huge difference in price. 1-star.
Oh, okay. Right,
It's
so
like
first...
Coleman review.
It's a standard, so they're all standard, so I'm not talking any indie stuff, they're all core releases, lower age, like normal age
So
statements.
first of all, this person is complaining about where the grain has been sourced from.
No, I feel like it must be. It's hard to know because I don't know what the price is.
It'll be a Bowmore 12.
So it's a 12-year-old.
Okay, so
I was going to go for Lafroig 10.
So it's not Ardbeg either then, if it's Islay.
So you should be able to get it just from that.
Lagavulin? No, not Lagavulin.
Core 12. An Islay Core 12-year-old.
Islay Core 12.
Easter South European fruit or grain double distilled moonshine would taste adequately better considering the ridiculously huge difference in price.
Kalila 12, yeah.
Not Kalila 12.
God, right, we're running out of
We're running out of
distilleries.
distilleries because I'm trying to think who is
Now my brain's
It's
gone.
their standard age statement release.
So it's not Bowmore 12.
No.
Glencadam then.
Yes, Bunnahabhain 12.
Really?
12.
Yep.
So what is really?
1-star.
That's up there as my one of my top drams of the year.
Well, according to this guy, you're wrong. Next. Again, people have some terrible opinions.
Super. Please message in if any of these 1-star reviews are you.
So next one. The title is No Way, Thanks. And the review is fruity, ? It's just malty, oaky and very, very sugary stuff.
Ooh.
It's a Highlands.
A Highland.
Classic Highlands.
Glenmorangie. 12. No. La Santa.
10. Glenmorangie 10-year-old.
Glenmorangie 10.
Which is now
Yep, well done. Good guess. So yeah, fruity.
Well done.
Yeah, fruity 12. It's just malty, oaky and very, very sugary stuff. Right, next one. Title.
Malty, okay. Aye.
I'll have to have Glenmorangie 10 again, I think.
Title is Garbage. The review. This scotch gave me a hangover. It is not pure. Moreover, the taste is off.
It's not pure.
Yes, it's smoky and full of peat, but it ends empty and hollow. Nonetheless, my major concern is my hangover. This dram is tainted, yo! !
Right, we're talking Islay then
Tainted
again.
you.
Back to
It
Islay.
is back to Islay, yeah.
Could be Ardbeg 10.
It is Ardbeg 10. You guys are good at the game. There we go.
Must have had a terrible hangover at Ardbeg 10. It's not pure.
Yeah, it's not pure.
not
You know,
pure.
and the taste is off, and it gives him a hangover. Yo!
So is he actually? So is there any? I say we're saying he. It could be anyone.
Yep.
Have they put any sort of point on the flavour profile or anything in that?
No,
No,
that's the review.
It's not pure.
All I've done is went on to classic
The
reviews
hangover.
and put it from lowest to highest.
These are like movie reviews where the guy's like, someone spilled a drink on me.
Yeah, 1 star. It's exactly that, but for
I want
whiskey.
to see
This whiskey, wait a minute.
Aye.
1 star, this whiskey gave me a hangover.
That's literally the review. That's the
I
review.
drank too much to enough. And it's the whiskey.
I didn't like it so much, I had to finish the bottle and I woke up this morning feeling raging about this.
It's like the TripAdvisor reviews of like the Arthur seat in Edinburgh. It's like I had to climb up a hill to get there.
There wasn't an escalator. 1 star.
Yeah. I can't believe there was
are good fun.
nature. Yeah.
Right, I've got 2 more.
Go for it.
Horrible. As soon as I took it out of the cork, it smelled like sweaty socks. I have never tasted sweaty socks, but the taste is what I imagined they would taste like.
Are we giving it again a clue
It's
here?
a Highlands.
Old Paltney?
No, but you're actually kind of close geographically.
Are you including islands in your Highland
I
description?
might be.
Is it a Ledgig or a...
Nope.
Wolfburn?
Again, you're not too far off. You-
Right in the north, right up there, right up
Abin
there.
Jerrick.
Or Highland Park? Mm-hmm. Aaron Jerry. Highland Park.
Highland Park.
Highland Park.
Highland
12.
Park tastes again.
Tastes like sweaty socks.
This cannot be clipped up and taken out of context.
Yeah.
Context. This person thinks Highland Park tastes like sweaty socks.
Yep, horrible. As soon as I took the cork, it smelled like sweaty socks. I've never tasted sweaty socks, but the taste is what I
I
imagined they
would
would
probably
taste
taste
like.
his sweaty socks then. to be
Right.
honest with you.
Yeah. What are sweaty socks? Are you guys?
Right.
You taste
Last one. It's very good single malt for the price. I'd say one of the finest. 1 star.
Right. Give us a clue.
Speyside. Classic Speyside.
Glenfiddich 12.
Glenfiddich 12. You guys are pretty good in the guessing, I'll
There
tell you.
there you go.
I didn't get a single one.
You're obviously not cynical enough, Chuck.
You've met me.
So that's a fantastic game, and I think we are going to probably carry that on.
Because again,
Yeah.
you just have to make sure that the releases aren't unguessable, and you can like not give the clues. So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
have 3 or 5 guesses to work it out rather than.
And we are looking
That's
for sponsorship. So Sam Simmons, Master of Malt, could probably just we'll just read out all the 1-star
If you
reviews.
pull some from Amazon as well, Amazon has some.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has their own say on whiskey, and you can't be right or wrong. But I'll tell you, some people shouldn't have a podcast with over 100 episodes. I'll tell you that. Right now.
So going back then, how valuable is it from your point of view having a master blender like Ian Forteeth, who you can then, because there'll be times when I suppose if you come back from a trip or come back from somewhere, will there be a time when you can say, I tell you what we could really do is if we were to send Ian to a place like that, or send Ian, because when we had Ian and Cameron McPherson, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Great, 2 of them were on. It was a Monday night, and they'd been in here doing a training session for the staff at Diggers, and the drams that were on the lineup that night, absolutely fantastic. Shout out to Moira. Moira, if you can remember that tasting, well done.
But it was one of the nights when, one of the guests we've had where it was in this room, and I think they must have had about 15 bottles of whiskey with them. So it was one of those ones that it was like, well, we'll give you a wee.
I felt terrible.
Some people come in and say, I'll give you a wee taste of this. They were like, well, take your pick, lads.
Well,
you know?
I felt terrible because, again, through yourself.
Oh, they had a 21-year-old, didn't they?
No, but not just that. I just felt that the fact that it was a Monday night.
Graham just went, give me your oldest
No,
whiskey.
not at all. But it was a Monday night, and we were. And truth be told, we'd had a cancelled podcast earlier that week, and we were struggling to get something done. And with the way timings for availability were, and I was kind of like, God, these guys have been working all day. Then they've come in to do a tasting that night with the Digger staff, and then at 8 o'clock, I think it was quite.
It was quite late, yeah.
20 past 8 by the time we actually got started. To go and host, I mean, Ian, if you haven't seen that episode, please go and watch it for so many different reasons. But Ian Forteeth, it was. I don't even know which number it was, but it was Ian and Cameron that were on it.
Right.
Okay, so you've got the master blender for Tomintoul, Glencadam, Angus, Dundee,
Right.
and Cameron McPherson, who's also a brand ambassador.
UK
brand
ambassador. Yeah, very good.
Jeff, shout out to Jeff. He gets called Jeff, we don't know why, but that's basically it. But basically, the bottom line is, they'd done all that, and then they came in, and I was like, listen guys, we'll try and keep this as tight as possible, no longer than an hour and a half, whatever. Nah, Ian was just all go, Cam was brilliant, but the content that Ian came out with that night, and to just go, the energy that he brings to Whisky is just fantastic.
Well, again, he's one of, if not the only, I'm not 100% sure on that one, brand ambassador that became proper master blender. Actually, Tomatin, they're brand ambassadors.
Right.
They're doing a lot of their blending for them as well. But it's not too common for that to happen. So Ian is very comfortable doing stuff in front of a room anyways. You know,
which isn't the same with every master blender, right?
So master blenders are amazing to listen to, like fountains of knowledge. But I have listened to a few that after 30 minutes, I'm like,
that's plenty. Cheers.
No, but it's true.
It is.
They have a skill set.
Well,
and their skill set is to taste whiskey or sample whiskey and being able to... So, from a brand, to be able to bring a master blender out, as you said earlier on...
I mean, sometimes you've effectively pulled a scientist out of their lab and then be like, just explain it to people and let them enjoy it. The other one I can always think of being very, very good is Bennermac, Keith from Keith.
He's not there anymore.
Was he not? Where's he moved to?
I don't know.
Oh, right. Well,
He's not there anymore.
Whenever I had a tasting and he'd hosted, it was fantastic.
Keith from Keith.
Keith from Keith.
Absolutely fantastic.
Keith from
Great
Keith.
guy.
He'd pull out the projector and be like, I've got to show you these pictures.
It was great. Brune liquid. Brune liquid. He kept calling it Brune
What was
liquid.
the slide he'd made up himself?
The only slide he'd done was the one of Jerez.
Are you drawing a triangle on a map of Spain?
It was shiny, glossy marketing. And he kept calling it during the tasting, and there were folk there. And
A marketing bump.
He kept calling it the marketing bump, right? Like, I've just got to get Keith for Keith, right, guys? I've just got to get through this marketing bump. And he kept clicking. There's a nice picture of the distillery at winter with some snow on it, brilliant. But he kept saying, "We'll get through this, and then we'll talk about the Brune liquid." And he kept going at the Brune liquid. He kept going and kept going.
But didn't he do a big talk about the organic? Because it was his sister's husband.
Was it? Was he was big with that?
I think it was his sister-in-law or something like that. Be like, so all the organic barley comes from this guy. He's a really good guy.
Oh, no, this is like a local.
like related, like I think it within the family. And I remember we did a tasting with him, and they just released the triple distilled for the very first time. And I was like, how was that process? And he was like, it was a fucking faff. So I tell you what, I'm going to be pushing for that again. Right? It was work, and we had to clean it all out. It was a mess.
but he was authentic. He was real. But like you say, he went through all these glossy, shiny. It's the only tasting at the Scotch at the Balmoral who's brought a projector, right? Screen,
I'd
right?
been really upset that he's had to bring the projector.
And he's had to go through it. Right, we'll get through this marketing bump folk, and then we'll talk about the Brune liquid. and then it's like, there's a picture of me, and it was Prince Charles at the time. There's a picture of me of Prince Charles over in the distillery.
Back then,
and then you go, and then it was like the one slide that he was absolutely delighted with, and it was like Microsoft Paint. It was like a map of Spain. And he just clicked it, and then a wee red triangle appears. Right, and he's like, "Oh, I do enjoy my trip to Jerez once a year." You get a trip to Jerez once a year, where he gets to go and do the cast management and everything like that, and that was it. But yeah, you're right, and I think these characters are so important.
Oh, absolutely.
And we heard, who's it? It was Blair Stirrick, Glenallachie talked about the fact that. And it is great about the fact that like people like Billy Walker still like to sometimes work the stand. Mm-hmm. And he's in his 80s, and he is who he is. But he did also say that it can also be a little bit overwhelming, because Billy is just Billy Walker. We've never had the benefit of meeting Billy at this. We'd love to meet him, but at the same time, he's just a guy who knows stuff about whiskey. But
whereas you get some people sort of turning up, seeing him almost kind of fainting.
Well,
you know,
he said there's a German.
That's going back to that rock star thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's a German guy started crying because he'd met Billy Walker.
That's what I want. Give me 20 years.
Yeah, well, listen, this is the
I'm
second
well,
time you're on the Whisky Stories podcast.
I want people to cry at my feet.
Yeah.
Well, when
I'll tell you what, it's really embarrassing being that guy, because I met Mr. Ichiro in February, and I got a picture with him, and then I looked at that picture and I was like, well, that's never going anywhere.
Really?
And I'm just like
really, just absolutely.
like,
But this is the thing, and the fandom around whiskey can do that. But the power and the ability to be able to bring that person to a market, to Japan, to Sweden, to Germany, to parts of Europe, where you can say, you know what, you like this stuff. Here is the guy who's behind producing it, and having then somebody that doesn't just stand and go, yeah, it's really good, I enjoy it. Having someone like Ian must be a huge benefit.
Is that your impression of Cody?
No. But you can have you can have people.
No, I agree. Ian is a massive asset for us. He's not only great as a blender, he's great as a personality. You can cut that from the podcast because his ego's big enough as it is.
Oh, really?
Nah. I love the man. He's someone that obviously when I joined the company, I didn't realise there would be an Ian there, and it makes it so much more comforting to have someone that has done what I've done before, so I can ask him questions on it, but is now in another role, he's now in the blending role and stuff.
And even Michael, who Angus did an impression of earlier, up at Glencadam. So, Michael, what's Michael's role?
So he's in charge of our brand homes. So that is the new Glencadam Visitor Centre, but also our where we can host clients.
And the way, first of all, he's fairly new in the job, isn't he? He would worked at King's Barnes. But he's also worked in 5-star luxury hospitality most of his time. We've got a wee chat with him. So the knowledge that he had about Glencadam already, but just things like simple things. That bar that you've got in there, with the drams that are behind it. What was it one that it was our favourite one from our trip up north that we had when I bought that bottle. It was the Glencadam 14.
The cognac.
Oh, cool,
yeah.
And that's the first time I'd seen that bottle
Again,
since having it. But what he explained to me was
we had to the SWA weren't happy with that one because the word cognac was bigger than the word whiskey on the bottle fractionally. You can look, it's tiny. It's very,
really?
So the SWA had the measuring tape out
and here this ties back in very, very nicely. Just a quick story about that. That was before our trip we were going up to Inverness and up to
Dingwall, yeah.
And I thought I'll buy a nice bottle for that trip. And I went into Jeffrey Street Whisky and Tobacco. I went in there to look at some of the stuff, and there was a group of us, eight guys I think it was?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Thought I'll get a nice bottle of whiskey that I can have, and it was actually and I apologise for this to the guys, Jamie and James, they have a lot of independently bottled stuff in Jeffrey Street. God, how many drams I've had. Jeffrey Street Whisky and Tobacco, they've got a lovely selection of independently bottled whiskey that you can get there. But the issue was I was a bit like, I saw a Glencadam from Blind Summit, but I just thought that
I know it well.
A single cask strength whiskey for the group that we were with, a lot of them like a dram.
Not aficionados by any means.
Well, but just a cask strength whiskey could be maybe just a step too far on the challenge route and things like that, and it would be a bit, I'm Graham, I've got a whiskey podcast, here's a cask strength whiskey kind of thing.
And they'd heard that for hours already.
Exactly. So, but then the next one was Glencadam. They had a good range of Glencadam, and it was the red label.
Yeah.
And you guys push so much out, like so many finishes, so much stuff.
Blame me in for that one.
But it's great.
It is really good.
But
it gives so much flexibility between us because we have 2 distilleries, 3 with China, but 2 distilleries. But the flavour differences between them are very vast. You can do really light and bright like Glencadam 10. You can do big heavy finishes like a PX or an Oloroso.
Yes.
And Tomintoul can do peated as well. And we can do soft. So it's great to have only 2 and be able to have that.
And being able to see that, and again, very recognisable through the colour charts of the labelling and stuff like that. But so in my mind, the purple one, which is your PX, isn't it? Then I've seen the sort of blue one, which is non-age statement bourbon one. Is that sort of royal blue that you've got there?
The American oak, yeah.
Yeah, American oak one. Sorry. Then you can go through. You can go through them. So you see a red one, and you're like, I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah.
Looked at cognac, interesting, an easier, more cracking dram.
Yeah.
And we've got to see it up at the distillery.
And we should talk about Tomintoul a bit because we've talked a lot.
I was going to say one thing about Glencadam.
Well, mention Glencadam.
So I'd just say it's really impressive with Glencadam that you can have like the bottling that I always talked about, and it's quite a few years ago now, was the 17-year-old triple wood finished off in port.
Yep. I had that at my wedding. It went in my quick.
It's one of the most stunning whiskies ever, and I thought we used to push that non-stop at Scotch. It was the easiest thing ever because we loved it.
Yeah.
It was a great drop. And then a couple of years ago, was it the 15 or 16-year-old finish off in white port?
15.
That blew my mind and then was gone in an instant.
Yeah, I mean, again, white port, we're one of the few to really do white port as a finish.
Yeah,
that was an Ian thing as well.
Yeah,
that was a fantastic drop.
Ian likes anything bad for him. If it's cigars, cheese, chocolate, port, sherry, wine.
I was hoping you were gonna say the guy's gonna get gout or something.
But it does mean we get these incredible range of finishes that are coming through, and we've got many more on the way.
But that must be a challenge as well, because a finish, it means that when you look at the okay, you've got the core product, the Glencadam 10, and probably will the 13 continue, or will you eventually phase that into just the 10 and then the 15, or will you?
The 13 is a small batch. I mean, I have no other information that it will continue.
But then, from a batching point of view, then with the finishes that you guys are doing so much of, it means that you'll be bringing out lots and lots of releases, but smaller batch releases that go all the way through. So eventually there will be, like I say, like the cognac, whether it was SWA or whether it was just the fact that, well, that was it. That was just a run that we did at 14-year-old Glencadam whiskey finished in cognac, because it's longer finishes that you guys do
normally, yes.
Up there. But at the same time, that you can only have so much of that, can't you?
Yep. And if you like the cognac, by the time this episode goes live, there will be something similar on the market.
Oh,
to move it from Glencadam to Tomintoul.
Yeah, well, I was going to mention about Tomintoul. So Tomintoul.
Is it true that it is the only kosher distillery in Scotland?
Kosher?
Not
distillery?
The only distillery kosher one. However, both Glencadam and Tomintoul in bourbon casks are certified kosher.
Right.
Wow.
So we have the Orthodox Union state on the back of our bottles.
Right, okay.
American Oak actually has another certification as well, but yes.
Crazy.
We're not the only ones. Pretty much anyone in bourbon can be. It just is a lot of hoops you have to jump through.
Okay.
But yes, the bourbon cast stuff.
There you
bourbon
are.
and rum.
I had no idea, because I mean, Tomintoul is a distillery. I know we talked a lot, wax lyrical about Glencadam and the visitor centre now open. Go and visit Glencadam. Tomintoul is open to visitors, but to a much you can tour it, but to a much. I was going to say, I've driven past Tomintoul, I think, about 3 different times, and I've got about 3 different photos of the same photo on my phone where I've gone.
Yeah.
I've kind of driven into the driveway, gone, there's Tomintoul, click.
Yeah.
Right, I'll drive
Where
on.
is Tomintoul?
But Tomintoul is in Tomintoul. It's in
Speyside
Speyside, but it's like if you
Tomintoul is in the Glenlivet Valley, so we're right next door to Glenlivet.
So what you do, it's quite cool, Graham, is if you drive up to Speyside, but you go the kind of Braemar over the Schlocht way,
right,
you get into the village of Tomintoul, and then you can either go right or left. And if you go right, you go past like Glenlivet, etc. But then if you go left, you go past Tomintoul. There's a kind of circular road.
So it's a Speyside,
know what I'm talking
it's
about.
a Speyside distillery then.
Yeah, but it's like at the right at the kind of base of Speyside.
Yeah, we're in the Glenlivet Valley, so if you look at Tomintoul bottlings, it says Speyside Glenlivet on the front. You can only have that on it if you're in the Glenlivet estate. Otherwise, the Glenlivet wouldn't be too happy with it, but we are very good friends with them. Like our master distiller, Robert, is a 4th generation distiller in Glenlivet. So his father, his grandfather's father have been making whiskey in Glenlivet for over 100 years. Tomintoul, for me, was one that my granddad used to drink a lot, in here as well. My granddad was from Gorgie. He was literally a 10-minute walk to his house from where we are at the moment. He would drink in here. My dad would drink in here as well, until he got celiac, so now he can't have proper beer. He can only drink gluten-free beer these days.
Oh, really?
I'm going to have gluten-free beer here.
He's a Belfield boy now, so you can get the Belfield beers. Tomintoul is generally a softer style over Glencadam, but can also.
Well, it's kind of
you
label it self-styled as the gentle dram, isn't it? Yeah.
But
and actually, it was probably the first whiskey I had when I was kind of really, really early days getting into whiskey, it was probably the first whiskey I had neat. Because it was the first whiskey I could have that I didn't get the kind of back of the throat sort of thing.
Right,
I mean, really early on. I remember Tomintoul. And the other thing I'll say...
When are we talking about this? Like, what are we talking?
When I was trying this, I can't remember. I can't remember when I tried this, but I remember. Years ago. Oh, yeah, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, but I remember having Tomintoul and being like, I can drink this without ice. I can drink this without water. This is actually.
What got you onto it? Because that's what
I can't remember.
Like, with the greatest respect, and this is where brand recognition. When you're an early whiskey drinker, from my perspective, it's like where do you go? Because you don't see Tomintoul on the back bar at most places.
No.
Again, it's a more recognisable brand than Glencadam if you're talking international.
And one thing I'll say about Tomintoul that really impresses me, and I'll because I think this is a very important thing, is their miniatures come in the full tube, which I think is a real touch of class.
Touch of class.
That 100%. That gets my vote of approval.
I drink. I probably drink more Tomintoul in my house than Glencadam in general. I'll drink Glencadam if I'm out in bar with my mates, but Tomintoul again was something that my granddad enjoyed. That's the reason I got into whiskey in the first place. If you want my whole X Factor sob story, I'm pretty sure I said it on episode 5, so you can go back and see that.
Yeah.
But the ease of which you can pour a Tomintoul into a nice tumbler and just sit and enjoy it is unbelievable. I was at a whiskey show in Kendal down in England recently. A bunch of guys came up to me and they said, "We've heard that you guys have something quite easy, like soft as a single malt." And I was like, yeah, and they were like, good. And they were like, "We've just been trying a bunch of single cast stuff." And I was like, "Oh, well, I've got single cast Tomintoul." And I was like, "No, we don't want that." They're like, we want something.
We want the 40%.
They were like, we want something less than 46. People keep handing us like something bigger. And again, as whiskey enthusiasts, which I'm sure we all are, sometimes again you can get into that mindset that is what all whiskey people want, which is not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
One of my good friends, big beer guy, loves his beers, craft beers and everything. Every time I go out with him for a beer, he is handing me these craft ales and things that are 8-9%.
Yeah.
He's like, never drink a Moretti. That's piss water, whatever. Try this, 10%. I drink half the thing, and it's too much for me.
Yeah.
But for him, he's like, he is so used to that stronger strength in a beer that he's like, everyone else is idiots. This is what the beer people have. This is. You understand whiskey. You should get this.
We had this conversation literally an hour and a half ago.
Literally before you arrived.
Angus was talking about we've probably accidentally, and you have. We'll talk about.
Well, not intentionally.
We'll talk about your whiskey cycle that you talked about on episode 5, which we've talked a lot about over the last.
We've talked about the ABV cycle.
Since episode 100, we've talked a lot about what you said on episode 5 about the whiskey cycle that whiskey drinkers go on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we've become very spoilt in the sense of what we get an opportunity to drink, and it's like what I was saying earlier on. Tonight I've done something I've done at the Diggers that I've never done for a long, long time, where I've ordered two of the same dram after each other, because it's just like you have it and you go, that's good and I like it, I'm just going to have another. But you feel, particularly doing the podcast, you feel like you should always be going, that was good, what's the next dram? What's the next dram? What's the next dram? Because you've got over 850 open.
Well, this is the infinite multitude of variety.
Exactly.
And it's a case of, well, what haven't I tried?
But what that does do is it makes you become more cynical on the
core ranges. You're away from the core
supermarket
ranges.
dram.
We're talking about
Jura. Jura gets knocked out. Jura has been knocked a lot in this podcast.
Mostly by Ross.
Yeah, Ross, 100% by Ross, right? But we talked about like the Jura 10.
It's one of the best-selling whiskies.
Biggest
in the UK.
selling, one of the biggest
40%
selling malt whiskies in the UK.
Probably put it down in front of us, and if we were to try it blind,
you bought him on a pod. I don't know if it was
Jura
a pod
18.
that was released. You bought him a Jura 18, and to be fair, he was vaguely complimentary about it until he found out it was Jura.
Jura. I'm cynical about Jura. I'll be honest about it, but and I was really, really brutal about it for a very long time.
Did you ever go into Master of Malt and put a 1-star review?
No comment.
I didn't. I haven't checked Jura.
I bet you what we could do is
I've not looked at that one.
We could really add a new layer to this game and be like, find Chuck's 1-star review.
What I'm more interested in, what are the 2-star reviews? What are the ones that you're like,
I feel like that's a niche review.
maybe that's...
Right,
yeah.
so anyway, carry on, Chuck.
So I was brutal about Jura for a long time. It was actually one of the first peated whiskies I actually ever enjoyed was the Prophecy way back.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, it's rubbish. I hate it. All this stuff. And then I had the Thompson Brothers 34-year-old Jura.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know
with a stag on the front.
With a stag on the front of it, and I thought it was a Taman because nobody told me what it was.
Charlie Hume brought that on for us.
He did.
And it blew me away. I was like, this is fantastic.
Whiskey Craft Jura 36.
Yeah, I certainly did a really good job with that. And but I mean, I then also went. I bought when I was in Japan the first time. I bought a sample and it was a whiskey sponge Jura. I think that was maybe similar package, 34, 35. And then I bumped into sponge at Chichibu Fest and I was very, very drunk. And I said some very profane words and told him that he was an arsehole because now I actually have to revisit Jura because I've had 2 very well matured Juras that were really, really good, and I have gone back to it.
Yeah.
And I've actually had some really, really cool
But
stuff.
I've said it in a newsletter months ago now. We are in the minority of the whiskey drinkers, where we sit there and think that everybody should like non-chill filtered, 46 plus, cask strength this, cask strength, single cask this, single cask that. Where actually, and this is where it becomes a balancing act for so many distillers, is like, what market do you want to appeal yourself to? If you suddenly said, Jura, White and Mackay, no one's going to be sitting there at White and Mackay HQ going, oh no, the wee fat guy from the Whisky Stories podcast doesn't like Jura, right?
Because we're still one of the biggest selling single malts in the UK.
And there are a lot of people who will sit down and go, a 40% core range, 27 to 35 pound bottle of whiskey I could get out of any supermarket, even better if I can get in the club card, that will do for me.
So that's one of the reasons I love Tomintoul so much. We have the 40% stuff, which is incredibly easygoing. When I just want a beer and a dram, maybe I'm not in a place that has 1,000 whiskies, but they've got a Tomintoul, unbelievable. Again, if I just want to pour a whiskey and I just want to watch the football and cheer on the ref, and I just want a whiskey in my glass.
Good old refs.
Yeah, exactly. I just want something easy drinking. I want something in my glass. I'll pour myself Tomintoul. I'm watching the football. I'm having a great time. But Tomintoul also can do heavily peated, like Ballantrae.
Yeah.
We've got all the
I love
different cask
Ballantrae.
finishes now that Ian's pushed forward. We've got our 14 PX, our 15 port, 15 Madeira, 14 Cognac. We've done a 16 Sauternes before in the past.
Because he likes all the things that are bad for him.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a 17 PX. So we've got all this stuff that is 46%, if that's what you're looking for. It's a very diverse distillery for us. It can do the soft and approachable, good price point, easy drinking Scotch to big, powerful, heavily peated Speyside at 50% ABV as well. It does everything in between.
Yeah.
So it's a great distillery.
It
really is.
Yeah, and Ballantrae's a great drama. It's a drama I would say if you don't think you like peat, try Ballantrae because it was probably the first mainland peated whiskey I tried.
I would say I'm a mainland. I like peated whiskey. We did the Ardbeg, the periodic table.
Yeah. That's the socks one, yeah?
Yeah, that's it. No, that was Highland Park.
Oh, that's Highland Park, you're right.
But
that's the hangover one.
Give me a hangover.
It was when I was actually it was actually when I was in Tomintoul and a guy behind the bar said he had loads of whiskey and I was a bit early days with the whiskey and he said, what do you like? And I said, I like peated whiskey. He said, if you like peated whiskey, try this Old Ballantrae in a big kind of black bottle, what the hell is this?
It's a real diverse change branding wise.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And he said it's Tomintoul, but it's peated Tomintoul. The peat comes from the Highlands. It's not like any Islay whiskey you'll have had. See what you think. And I was just blown away at the time when I first tried it. And I still have a real soft spot.
Tomintoul, Chuck, sorry.
Tomintoul. Tom Jones in a towel.
Imagine Tom Jones in a towel.
Yeah. If you'd watched the episode, you'd know that.
Yeah.
I've seen the thing. Sorry, Tomintoul. No.
Royal Lochingar.
Like I'll
Aberdeenshire, if you're asking where the peat's coming from.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, but I never got there. So
Yeah.
just shut up.
Yeah.
What was that?
Aberdeenshire, like where the peat we were getting the peat from.
That's right. But I have to say, when we did the Glencadam tour, we finished off that we'd had a few. Michael was very kind in the tasting room area that you've got there, the wee bar. He was very kind to pour some drams. He was very kind in the sense that he said, "What do you guys want?" And regrettably, we were all far too polite, so we stayed on the left-hand side of the row, which went further and further up. But but it was nice because, and I'm not just saying this, but it's very easy for us, and it's like what you were saying earlier about the 10. It's very easy for us to suddenly go, there's a 21, there's a rare this, there's a rare that, give us all them. Ross said, same thing, you idiot, why did you not have the Glencadam 18? He absolutely loves the 18. Yeah. This 15 is, I would say, I've had the Glencadam 18 on a previous episode, which I had with, we recorded with Cam. I would say this 15 probably is
15
more
is one of my
preferable.
favourite whiskies in the world.
But
25 was also phenomenal.
well, yeah, again, we were too polite to go up
so
to
the
that.
10, the 13, the...
Well, this is it. We were too polite to go up to that scale.
Have you ever heard of the
But what we did do is we went up to the cafe we've talked about. We sat outside the veranda, which was lovely. You got to look over the distillery, which was great. And we ordered some drams. And it was the old Ballantrae that I said, Angus and I were stood there, we said, because you don't do flights yet, but you might do flights by now.
I'll always advocate for Old Ballantrae.
But what we said was, right, what we're going to pick, we picked the 15, I think we picked the 18, we picked a few other ones.
And we'd had a
good scoop
We'd had a good scoop, and we'd had a good scoop the day before. But we'd had a lot of Glencadam, and let's finish on a peated.
It was something peated.
Let's have something
peated. It was absolutely delightful, absolutely fantastic. But I'm going to say this before we finish. I'm putting you on a bit of pressure here. We've talked a little bit about it, this whiskey cycle that whiskey drinkers go on. Now, it's been a big thing over the last 100 episodes. Since episode 100, we were asked by Bob Cutting, I think it was, where do you think you are now on the whiskey cycle? He asked all of us as collectively as on the podcast, where do you guys think you are now on, and it was great because it's a listener that was on episode 100 that was able to reference back something they listed in episode 5, which means he must have done something right because he stayed for another 95 episodes. But he asked, from Cody, when Cody was on, Cody did the cycle, where the whiskey drinker goes. And it sparked a little bit of conversation. We spoke to Arthur Motley about it, and he explained maybe some of the reasonings behind where you took people on that front. Basically, you get to the sherry or the peated section. Could you do it again? Could you explain to our listeners, viewers, the whiskey cycle again?
Yeah.
As you did on episode 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is how I see how it works. There is no scientific background between this, and everyone will be different. But just from my experience in the whiskey industry, the way I see people on their whiskey journey as you're trying whiskies, you tend to start at whatever is the most available thing.
Yep.
So that is blended whiskies or core, easily available single malt releases that you'll find in any bar.
Yeah.
Glenfiddich 12, Glenmorangie 10, whatever it may be. It's they have 3 single malts behind the bar, 2 blends. That's where you're starting. You want to start with something. From there, if you really start to enjoy your whiskies, or some people skip that step because they have a friend that likes whiskey and they give them something, whatever it may be, you'll move into, okay, I'm drinking single malt whiskey now because I've been told I need to drink single malt whiskey, or I want to drink single malt whiskey, or my local has a good selection of single malt whiskies. And from there, what you tend to do is basically 2 things. You either start with something that's still approachable, again, if you're very new, so something that's very easygoing, like a Tomintoul 16, a single malt, so you're ticking that box, but it's a very easy way in. Or you stick to something that is very big and bold in flavour. Because when you've just started this cycle, as we're saying, your palate is not very well developed, and the easiest things you can pick out are big, bold flavours. this one is different because it's in a sherry cask over a bourbon cask, or this one is different because it's heavily peated and this one's not. So you're like, they're the ones I like. I like the peated, or I like the sherry, or I like the bourbon. That tends to be the first thing you realize where you ask someone, what whiskies do you like? If they're right at the start, they say, oh, I like the smoky ones, or I like the sherry ones, but they, within that, whatever. Past that point, that's when you're pushing into like properly starting to understand your whiskies. If you were to add a step in, that's when you're moving into like the specific distilleries that you tend to gravitate towards, and they're maybe not necessarily their spirit character at this point, but more so what their classic style is. So, I like an Abelard. It's because it's sherried and you like sherry, but at this point you're talking about the fact you like an Abelard because the sherry. Or I like a Glencadam because you like bourbon casks.
Or Chuck likes a Glentockers because he's a bit of a hipster.
Yeah, exactly. or you want to be different and cool from your mates, so you like Glentockers. And then past that point, this is when, right, okay, so you know your distilleries, you've tried most distilleries. This is when people start to crank up the ABVs, crank up the peat, you're moving up to cask strengths, or you're moving up to, highly peated expressions. You already knew you like smoky stuff. I want to try the most smoky. You already knew you like sherry stuff. Give me a higher ABV.
Yeah.
This is when you're moving into those high strength
like
options.
Octomore or stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Past that point, and once you move past those stronger strength points, you move past wanting to try IBs. You don't want to try something from Glencadam. You want to try something from Signatory Vintage that's bottled Glencadam. You want to try independent bottler stuff. And I think I've said it before, a lot of people stay in that point when you get to know their stuff and they're like, I only drink independent bottled stuff. I like the stuff it tends to be stronger, whatever, it's not from the particular distillery. What tends to happen after that, or sometimes alongside that, is people move back to bourbon, because the difference between different bourbon...
Chuck's raging. He's going, oh no.
So you tend to move back to bourbon because at this point your palate's developed enough that you can tell the difference between a Glentockers and a Glencadam. And even if they are both bourbon casks, which ones you like. That is hard to tell at the start. You can't tell the difference, really. It's all whiskey. It's more about the cask. But at this point, you can really notice the difference in spirit, and you can really appreciate a bourbon. You go, shit, bourbon casks can be amazing. They can be really, really good once you actually understand the differences between them. Once you do that, you tend to go kind of back to the start and you try some like premium blends, stuff you'd absolutely ignore at the start, but like, you can try some niche blended whiskies at this point, things like Woven and all this, and you're like, actually this stuff's amazing as well. And then you can just start the cycle again. People then go back round, you're like, you know what, I've drunk a lot of bourbon in the last few months, I'm going to try a big sherry cask again. And that's
I think my afternoon in Diggers here today, I've gone backwards along the wheel in the drum. I started with a 9-year-old bourbon Glenord, and I've somehow ended up with this heavily, slightly peaty, weird spirit drink. The peated Glenmurray. Yeah. So I've gone back to big bold flavours. I've just gone backwards. I've had
Chuck, you're trucking away.
Yeah.
So this resonated with you then?
I mean, so I remember when I first got into whiskey, and my entry point, I think I skipped your first step.
Yeah, I said some people do skip that step.
I was working bar, and I've told my how I got into whiskey story, but the first whiskey that really, really grabbed me.
Out of spite.
Yes, all my great achievements have been done through resentment and spite. But Glenfarclas 15 was the whiskey that got me into whiskey, and I was a big sherry bomb guy for a long time. And I remember drinking at Ushkebe and talking to the bar staff there. I would just like hound them with questions, be like, "Why is this and why is this?" And I remember Chris like turning to me at one point and be like, "Chuck, like, no matter how much you get into whiskey, one day you're going to be like us and you're going to really love refill bourbon." And I remember this was 2016 or maybe even before that, 2015, and I was like, "No, man." And I remember
you fool.
Yeah, and I remember I think it was probably 5 years later, I was like, fuck. Like, fucking hell.
They were right.
And to this day, but I genuinely laughed when you said bourbon cask, because in the last like 6 months to a year, I've been drinking a lot more just straight up bourbon.
Yeah.
And I think if I look back at me, this was the terminology that I use, and I mentioned before we started, is I called it the peak of idiocy. Was my descriptional factor, is that you learn all these things and you're like, I've got it.
You know it.
I've nailed it.
Yeah.
Your confidence is
a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing,
is
right?
sky high, and then someone mentions rancio, and you're like, what the fuck? And you're like, what do you mean? And you're like, oh yeah, I really love like the rancio vibes on this. And you're like, what why? When? And then everything collapses, and you're like, well, I don't know anything actually. You start all the way up again. You get to this peak, and then someone's describing how sherry casks were actually way better back in the 80s because it wasn't a seasoning process, it was just Solera vats. And you're like, well, fuck. And then you're all the way back at the very bottom again. So my current thing that I'm really into is just Tesco Club Card bourbons.
Really, just
I'm really in a Jim Beam 7-year-old, and I've been into it for years, but Eagle Rare 10, that's what I want in the gaff, and I do love Woven. I think Woven's great. And I think Mystery Malt's been a really, really nice reset as well, because it's 48.5%. I'm not as obsessed with super high ABVs as I was before. In fact, if someone gave me something at above 60%, and it was a midweek
looking at you, Woody Tan,
I'd be like, I really don't need this right now.
No, I'd agree with that.
And that North British that we had from Thompson Brothers, it was like 40.1%. I was like, you know what? Delightful.
Yeah.
I would just joke because Woody gave us a 74.6%.
Yeah, I denied that. I said no, thank you.
I tried to write down the drams as I've gone, as you were talking there. So my entry point, I would order when I was in my mid-20s, Glenmorangie 10 or Auchentoshan Double Wood with ice and a wee drop of water.
Triple Wood.
Triple Wood, sorry, Triple Wood there.
Glenmorangie Triple Wood was a...
No, the Glenmorangie 10 or the Auchentoshan Triple Wood.
So the Auchentoshan Triple Wood was like a massive one. Like people were like, that's the one.
It was gateway kind of stuff for me.
Yeah, big time.
Then moved into, it was Glenfiddich 15. I decided Glenfiddich 15 is a drama I really, really, really like. Went down the sherry route, then it was into Glenallachie 15 and Tamdhu 10. So that's where you hit the sort of higher ABV or more sherry. I took a little bit of time to get into the higher ABV. I remember us being at a couple of Scotch.
I was going to say, when you were into your Glenfiddich 15, I really annoyed you by giving you a Glengrant 10 that you really, really liked.
Yeah, very nice, yeah. But then through the podcast and things like that, cast strength whiskey, independently bottled stuff, I went through a phase where, like, we're in here, it's all I'm drinking. You're going up to the round about the time Kev built the bridge, which is just with indie bottlers. You want Thompson Brothers, Woody, Treecara, all that kind of stuff, forgetting about everything else, and bearing in mind that in between that, Glencadam and sort of that side of it, then the bourbon stuff. It wasn't actually that long ago, and this is the great thing about doing these podcasts, is it's on record. Three to 6 months ago, a year and a half ago, I was the sherry tart. 3 to 6 months ago, I was saying, I'm not taking to sherry, anything sherry at the moment. I'm not taking to it. Give me something bourbon. Give me.
The signs were there though, Graham, because I would say.
And
I would say
going back to the premium blends niche, that Woven pure malt.
I still haven't tasted that.
Going back, do you remember the Glenfiddich 14 bourbon? We both really like that early doors. I think that was a sign we were on the right track.
And that I think, but just Arthur Motley talked about it, and he's like, there's the moment, and he sort of he went. We talked about your process, and he sort of said there is a moment, and it's when you get to that stage 3, I think it is, where you say higher ABV or more sherry, or he said it's the bold moment where he said what's happening is like you're becoming a situation where you can distinguish. Like I just remember being able to look at a dram and being able, from looking at it, feeling like probably the peak of idiocy, like you're saying, Chuck, where I can say that's a sherried one,
Right, yeah.
and that's not a sherried one, and just feeling a little bit more like
I remember like
I know what I'm talking about, or being able to just go, oh, that's peated, that's probably from Isla.
Picks up his massive balls over his shoulder.
Exactly, just be like, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about.
I'm sorry, Fred. It's actually pronounced Isla.
Yeah. I'm thinking like, I know it all now. I've managed to, because he said, and that's what he said.
I remember me and a couple of mates discovered Abela Rabina.
Yeah,
we were like,
holy
shit, my man. That with 5 drops of water, game changer.
Yeah, it's amazing how, but everyone goes through it, and that's where, so, going back to talking about like where we are on the journey, where we've been on it, and it's like annoyingly, like Chuck was doing as you were talking about it, and I've just been able to sit there and write down notable drams at each stage
along the way,
where they've gone. I remember it. I remember having a tam do, which was the moment where he went, "What? It was you, Chuck.
Yeah.
It was you that asked me at Scotch when you worked there.
Right.
What do you normally like? What do you normally like to drink?"
Yeah.
And I don't know what I would have said at the time. Glenn, I'll tell you when it was. I thought I knew everything.
Yeah.
Because I thought I knew about Billy Walker.
Peak of anything, mate.
Ben Rea.
That's what I suggested to you, wasn't it?
Tam do 10.
Is that what I gave you?
Give me a Tam do 10.
Right.
And then, which made me feel even more like I knew what I was doing.
I really thought you couldn't afford to be there if I gave you a 10.
I did a Ben Rea 12, I think it was.
I think I gave you a Ben Rea 22.
No, you didn't give me anything like that.
All right, okay.
Nothing like that. Nothing
I didn't
like
like you that much.
it was Ben Rea. It was a standard Ben, and I'd asked for it because I was like, I've heard about this guy Billy, and this SOH, the whole process. We've talked about this, but I've heard about this guy Billy Walker who's meant to have like the Midas touch, and he's at Glenglassaugh and Ben Rea and Glendronach. I'd bought a bottle of Glendronach not that long before then, and I was like, I know Glendronach, and again, some of the people
I remember your date left at this point.
Aye, but you gave me a Tam do 10, and I remember feeling really, really smug with myself when I found out that they were discontinuing Tam do 10 and being like, listen mate, I'm going to give you this bottle of Tam do 10 as a wee gift. I bought it for George Shields, good pal of mine, bought it for him.
Right.
And I was like, I appreciate that because it won't be here for very long. And, as if like, I know, and then not realising like Tam do 15, Tam do 18, but that was a moment, the 12, but that was a moment like the sherry into the sherry, then Ross came along, called me a sherry tart.
Ross is like the ultimate sherry.
Ross drinks sherry when he was 18 years old.
I say this, and I love Ross, but I have genuinely seen that man drink an entire like 35 cl of PX. And that's been us like going out in the town. I'm like,
for a night out.
The man who enjoys the Japanese slipper.
That much PX, that much sugar.
He loves writing a 1-star review.
This PX gave me a hangover. But I mean, it was when we were at this when Ross is in his, and he won't thank me for slaughtering him here.
Oh well, we said we were going to slaughter him tonight.
But
so
we were we were at one of his, and I have to say, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Ross Barr puts on. Well, I'll tell you what. Ross says it himself. He's so self-assured of himself.
I don't know how to deal with it.
Ross says, "I put on the best tastings in Scotland." Right, fair play to be able to say that. And do you know what? You cannot argue with him.
He doesn't talk a lot on this.
But he with the Scotch Club, and we were at and this is where Angus and I gave each other this wee look.
Oh, I agree.
Because Ross stood up and said, "Welcome to the Bunnahabhain tasting," right? And Angus and I looked at each other and went, "Bunnahabhain, is it?
Is it Bunnahabhain?
He's given it the official naming, is it? I've always thought it was Bunnahabhain, as he calls it, but Bunnahabhain. And then he dropped the Hereth. When he was chatting away, and then it was Manzanilla.
To be fair,
I was like, it's Manzanilla.
To be fair, I like to drop a wee Manzanilla every now and then.
Do you, Manzanilla?
Yeah. I like it.
Manzanilla.
I remember when I was in San Luca and I went to a couple of different sherry producers of Manzanilla.
Well, you know what? Are we celebrating the birth of Jesus or the birth of Jesus in a couple of days' time for Christmas, eh? God bless Jesus.
Oh, Christ, how do we decide it?
We've already passed Christmas at this point.
Well, of course,
of course,
aye,
yeah,
of course.
of
That's
course.
it.
By the way, the present that you gave me was unbelievable.
You're very welcome for it.
Well,
And honestly, thank you for all the Glencadam and Tomintoul that you gave us.
I can't believe
as
you gave
part-
me it back.
I can't believe
You didn't keep
But,
it.
but Cody, you've not come empty-handed on the pod. You
You know what? You're right. So this will be fun.
he said with dread.
Yeah. So this is not Scotch. I know I already
do
gave
you want to pour us a little bit?
Yeah, I
And
already
then we
gave
can-
you stick
We
for
don't want to
drinking something that's not Scotch.
That's all right.
This is a Swedish classic. This is Baska Dropper. If you are Scandinavian and I butchered that, I do apologise. I am going to say something we normally don't do with Scotch. We're all going to nose this together, and I'm going to see it off.
All right.
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 See it
Oh,
off.
right.
Yeah.
See it
Right,
off.
okay.
A tiny wee drop for me.
Okay.
I'm already fairly pissed.
I'm already.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to nose it and see it off. Right.
It's an interesting one. I'll tell you that.
That is not something.
And do you get to travel to Sweden fairly regularly through current wife situations?
Yeah, I'm going in February or March. There's a big whiskey show on a boat called Viking Line. You're on
we need to go.
You're on a boat,
you're-
you're
no,
on a
no,
boat for
th-
3 days. I eat my body weight in meatballs.
And does Moa come with you on this, or will
Yeah,
she,
normally.
will this be
Yeah,
a
I
one
think she'll
that
be there, yeah.
Now, Baska Dropper, is this like, now I've got a bottle of
Sorry, say that again.
Baska Dropper.
Oh, there we
Yeah.
go.
I'll put Jerez. What would be, it's kind of herbal on the, is this like the Norwegian stuff? What's it called?
Am I going to have to give this 1 star tomorrow morning for having a hangover?
We'll see how this goes.
I've got a bottle of it in the back of my cupboard somewhere. It's a Norwegian spirit, which is kind of infused with herbs.
I
They
know exactly.
Drink it at Christmas.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember what exactly it's called.
This
is this a similar sort of?
it's different, I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we just try this together and then we'll be able to discuss
Right, so we
afterwards.
say-
All right. So
Slanjava.
Slange.
Skål, exactly.
Skål.
Skål.
Sniff it and drink it.
Yep.
Oh my! Now.
Now, it's the length of the finish on this thing, which is
Oh, mental.
Oh, it kind of grows.
Just keeps going.
yeah, you'll taste this for a while. So it's mainly wormwood, is the thing, and
I don't hate it. Like, it smells like Calpol and Vic, but it like
Aye.
It's quite.
There's a Vic Vapor Rub.
yeah, it'd be good to know what you guys' thoughts are on that.
I mean, I've had a
'Cause you'll
cold.
still
I've been
you'll
struggling.
you'll still
I'm
taste
still.
it.
I don't
Yep.
know. I don't know what they're called, but they are very Christmas like orientated, like biscuits, like
Yeah.
very.
Just that keeps going.
Yeah, you'll taste this for a long
Yeah,
time.
that is mental, eh? Not bad. No, I mean, it wasn't like
You can hate it.
it
It's allowed.
didn't- No, but it didn't.
There is a kind of.
It didn't come back on me as if to go like that. It just.
I
kept
thought I was going to hate it, but I
wouldn't-
don't
I
hate
wouldn't
it.
ever choose it.
No.
But I'm very appreciative.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
it's-
very much.
Thanks. And was it Moa that
Basket dropper.
suggested bringing that?
Yeah, she
Fantastic.
wanted you to try it.
And when do they have this? Who drinks this and why?
Is it
Scandinavia. I think it's Sweden, but I don't want to
because it's dark
say
outside?
that. Yeah,
That's how to get through the winter.
it is mainly wormwood and it has a very long finish.
Cody,
I'm
we're
not gonna lie, I
that's
kind of
incredible.
wish it would end.
It's gone and gone and gone.
Yeah,
It's
We might need to have another beer or a drama. I'm gonna say.
Cody, we're going to ask you for 3 drams.
Okay.
I usually ask what 3 drams with a story or anything like that. It's been since 9th November 2023 that I last saw you. I think that's actually sobered me up. But since November, global brand ambassador, give us 3 drams that have had any sort of story, meaning, or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I think last time I said Glencadam 15, I would have said the White Mackay 13 because that was one of my granddad's favourites. I can't remember what I said for the third one, but this time I'm going to think about what I've tried recently that I've really, really enjoyed. And we said in the flavour wheel that we've been going round and retrying stuff. I am kind of back at the blends, to be honest. Right now, I kind of like something that's just approachable. When you're doing all these big whiskey shows where I'm sitting and I drink at the whiskey shows throughout, but sometimes if I want a whiskey outside of that, to be honest, I just want something nice and approachable and easygoing. And one that I always used to like when I worked back at the Scotch Whisky Experience was Cutty Sark Prohibition.
Classic.
I pulled it out recently. I had it when I was in the house, and I was like, you know what, that's just a good dram, you know. It's a little higher ABV than classic
50,
blends, but it was just, I had it recently in the house, and I was like, you know what, that is really good. I really enjoyed that when I had it.
I had a lot of that on Christmas Day. I'm letting you know now.
That was a declaration, not a memory.
Do you have it in a Manhattan or just
everything? I just had a lot of that on Christmas Day. There they are. We're recording this on the 17th of December. This is going out on the 8th of January. But I can tell you,
do you own a bottle right now?
I've got a bottle in the house.
Okay.
Yeah. I can guarantee that I've probably had close to 2/3 of a bottle.
Nice.
On Christmas Day. There you are. Cracking dram, honestly.
And to keep the other two on brand, this year Glencadam PX has done incredibly well for us. For the price point, it's really, really good. And classic Glencadam is what I fell in love with. It's what I love with Glencadam, but the PX at least shows a heavier style for Glencadam, which I really enjoy as well. Yeah. Again, it's at a great price point. But when I want something from us that's going to be a little heavier, that is just the perfect dram for that. And the last one for me, I'm going over to Tomintoul, Classic 16. Tomintoul 16, incredibly easygoing. It's honey and nuts. That is a whiskey that when I'm at a whiskey show, I'm behind the stand, and I want something in my glass while I'm talking to people, it's 9 times out of 10. What it's Tomintoul 16.
Retail pricing then for Glencadam PX? And
45 quid.
Yeah. And what about the Glencadam 16?
Tomintoul
16.
16. 65.
Yeah, so I mean that's it. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, look, guys, we're fast approaching too long to be podcasting, but it's been great. Absolutely.
I can still taste that.
Yeah, I know. I'm still.
You'll need another beer.
It's still good. It's still good.
Every single time I swallow saliva, I'm like, it's over, and then it's just.
And there's just another wee kick.
Have you got a tasting note, Chuck, for that?
Yeah, regret.
Pine needles. Pine needles, that's all I'm getting, just pine needles. I chewed pine needles. But anyway, look, Cody, absolutely fantastic. As I say, keep an eye out for our Glencadam Distillery tour with Scott Moore was there.
Yep.
And a special guest,
Tennessee,
our driver, Andrew Brady, who left a real impression, shall we say. That's all the mentions he's getting. But great to catch up with you. Great to see you. I hope you and Mo are having a fantastic
It's always great, you know. If anyone is going from Dundee to Aberdeen, come see us at Glencadam. Coming for a coffee, some loaded fries.
Great.
Mac and cheese with black pudding. 100% recommended.
Anyway, guys, look, that's been fantastic. Thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying your new year. If you're doing dry January, all the very best. Fair play to you for.
I'm going to try and attempt it.
Are you going to attempt that? Fair play.
I did it last year, but I wasn't on the podcast then.
No, because we wouldn't want you on the podcast. Not that abstinence from alcohol for a month is bad.
To be fair, last year I did 7 weeks.
Yeah.
0 booze. And the year before that I did 5 months.
Yeah, there you go.
And this year
doesn't tie in with it doesn't tie on brand with a whiskey
all I'm thinking about is
podcast.
driving to Glencadam for a whiskey flight and some mac and cheese.
Sir.
Honestly, well worth it. Well worth it. I'm in India right now. If you're listening to this, I hope having a great old time, enjoying some lovely weather. I'm going to predict it's about 23 degrees right now as you're listening to this for me in there. Absolutely loving life. Guys, all the very best. Thank you very much. Don't forget to keep passing the pod. I hope you're having a wonderful 2026 already. Cody, thank you so much for coming along. Cheers. Slanjava.
Empty glass. Slanjava.
There we go.